But the issue has kind of distilled down to the progressive side has legitimized the pain and suffering of women, and in the process delegitimized the pain and suffering of men.
Yes.
And then it's the opposite on the other side. So then we have this war of the sexes where everyone loses. Like literally everyone loses. There was the moment where Louis interviews the two guys that really, said, "Oh, Justin, I really appreciate, all that you've done, all that kind of stuff." And I was just really struck by the way in which, on the one hand, he took Justin's philosophy about, nutting the F up and, be a man and blah, 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 all that kind of gumption, right? That kind of like tough love rhetoric. And at the same time, just sort of glossed over, oh yeah, I was living in my car. Oh yeah, my brother took his life. Oh yeah. And it's just like, wow, there's just no room for us to grieve, to change, like Bob was saying. It's just such a striking moment.
Yeah. I think something I appreciated about this, and maybe other people saw it differently, is that I think Louis Theroux didn't have any ill will towards any of these people, really. Like, I think he was taken aback, and definitely, knew to call out the most ridiculous elements of it. But I think it was there's this part of me that read his efforts here, especially by including those clips of some of these influencers as children, of saying look, you can course correct, you can use your platform for something better than what you're using it for. And I think that was, I think it was him trying to take them to task and man up in a different way, is the way that I kind of read what his motivation may have been for this, in addition to understanding and just kind of shining a light on it. I have more thoughts about these things. Evan, I bet you have thoughts. I'm curious what your take on all of this is as a pastor, because I know a lot of what you do is probably focused on helping people find something outside of themselves to look forward to. Imagine you take a slightly different tack than, talking about OnlyFans and Lamborghinis.
Yeah, don't quite sell the same thing. Yeah, I noticed that as well. I'd never watched a full documentary of Louis, but I've seen him all over the place. So I wasn't super familiar with how he did stuff. But I did note, I was like, wow, this looks like really good journalism, just from the standpoint that he's kind of just here talking to these guys. I think there was one time where he started to get a little involved in it when he was on that podcast with all the girls and the one guy, and he wanted to kind of start going at it with them, which would have been pretty good. But other than that, he kind of was just talking to them, hearing about their lives and all that stuff.
Yeah. Something that stuck out to me from that particular encounter, and we've kind of got around to this a little bit, where we're talking about the way that they're selling this value that you have as a man, if you're born with no value. And he said, Louis had a really amazing quote there that I actually wrote in its entirety, where he said that he found it reductive, and that it was kind of a worldview where women and men are only as good as their various stats: money, height, body count. And I think that was a really great way to get at it. And in a way, it's that notion that it's what are you going to do when you can't lift or work out the gym as much as you used to, man? What are you going to do when your hair starts to go gray, or your knee gives out, or one investment just doesn't go the way you want it to, man? And it's weird. I think a lot of it comes from this scarcity mindset for me,